On the ninth day of Christmas, namely 90s gave to me 9 jelly donuts, 8 words for happy, 7 bombs a ticking, 6 teens a drinking, 5 hee-hee-hees, 4 free funzos, 3 Corvettes, 2 drinks of sherry, and Pete in a pear tree. All right.
Yeah.
I want to know what all of those are about now.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Instagram and Bluesky. That's at namely90s and namely90s.bsky.social. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@namely90s. And finally, if you'd like to sign up for one of our support levels, head over to patreon.com/namely90s and do it. All right. Well, it's the 4th annual 12 Days of Christmas specials, and we are on episode 9 at this point. 9. So we're just cruising right along.
Absolutely.
And as is the sort of through line for this year's specials, we have another fabulous returning guest podcast. We have Patrick M. Dunn from a very special podcast joining us for a 4th time. Kat is still at the Applebee's.
That first year.
BBW.
Yeah.
She's had a few Long Island iced teas, so she can't drive.
Yeah.
That's
Hold
what
in the lemon wedge, though. Hold in that lemon wedge.
This year, she was the traffic accident that was preventing her from getting here.
Yeah, although when you see the age of people
fine.
eating in the Applebee's, it's no wonder that there's a lot of collisions nearby, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're either dead from the traffic accident or of the old age that they achieved while on the way.
It's a sixth sense thing. You go into the Applebee's and everyone inside is horribly dead from the car accidents.
Anyway, welcome back.
Oh, it's so glad to be back here.
Do we just stop recording and then restart again? Like, was that a good enough intro for you?
No, that was. You know what? I appreciate it. You know, I like a lot of the dead inside references because why not, right? We're 9 deep now, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the Christmas cheer is probably starting to dwindle, I imagine.
Yeah, you're getting excited for New Year's Eve to go into the new year. It's already 2024. Where did the time go? Well, it's 2024 in a few days.
Yeah.
Time, man. Time is a flat circle.
To quote, what is it? Billy Corgan, time is never time at all.
Yes.
I think that's what it was, right?
And time is never time at all.
Yes.
And you can never, ever leave.
Sure. Why not?
Right.
Is it the Hotel California or?
No.
You know what? Is it Tonight? Was that the song?
Tonight. Off of Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, ?
Yeah. Double disc. It doesn't fit in your CD case because, you know, they're only single slots. So you just got to put it on top.
This is where you employ the laser disc.
Oh,
This is so telling. Can you imagine you've got like you're loading the laser disc into your car stereo?
how did people walk out of a store with a laser disc in 1990 whatever 5? What was the lifespan of a laser disc? I don't even know, to be honest.
It was very
short.
Seeing them. But my question is like, who produces something like that and goes, yes, this is a great idea, and then starts selling it? The guy walks into the room, you know, it's like a trash can lid, you know.
Well, it's like you're in what was the store? Saturday Matinee or whatever, like whatever the store was that sold Laserdisc and video cassettes. You're looking at what you're going to walk around the mall with for the next 6 hours. And it's like, do I walk around with a giant Laserdisc that I don't know how much they weigh because I've never actually handled one, or a video cassette that can just like fit in your pocket if you really wanted to. We were wearing Jayco jeans, so they could slide in there pretty good.
I feel like they were pretty heavy. They were kind of like just a giant CD. I don't know.
It was more than that.
It says they were invented in 1978.
78? What?
Yes, but not mass produced until the 80s. The Laserdisc brand name was invented by Pioneer Electronics in 1980, launched in Japan in 1981.
Okay.
It went for 11 years.
They weighed about 8.8 ounces.
Yeah.
8.8 ounces.
It's
I feel like
kind of like the CD was invented in like the early 80s, but no one bought one until 1992.
Right. Yep. And
Craziness.
probably related to this invention here, with Sony also being involved. In 1984, Sony offered Laserdisc. I have a list.
Sarah's going to be busy today.
Yes, our new intern,
gosh.
Sierra. I'm so sorry. Yes.
I vividly remember in school, I may have told the story before, but they would wheel in like the big CRT television on that black cart, and they had the Laserdisc player, and they had one of those little like library like barcode pen scanner things. You put the Laserdisc in, and on the back of the Laserdisc box or package, the sleeve, were like the different chapters on the educational Laserdisc, and you use the little like pen thing to scan the barcode, and it would take you to that chapter, and it never worked. That's what I remember vividly.
That just seems like a lot of work to get something to happen, because I don't think this is technology that was perfected yet.
No,
like, did it have
all.
A cord? Was it attached by a cord? Or
Yeah, it was
wireless?
attached by a cord. Yeah.
Okay, all right, it makes sense now. Because how do they have a wireless?
No, it was bizarre,
Doohickey.
but leave it to the school system, the public school system, to use a 1970s technology in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
You know what?
So anyway, tell us about your
you must have lived in
podcast.
a rich town, because I did not have a Laserdisc player in my town. It was more like Betamax, probably in 1990 something.
The new game is, let's see how many times we say laser dick on this episode.
Yeah.
Sierra, put up a tally on the screen for us, would you?
Yeah, can they do a little chime effect?
Yeah.
Like ding.
Record Patrick's ding and use that as the ding for every time we say Laserdisc. We usually use Andrew's ding, but
Ding. Wow. Why are we here again? The podcast. Tell us about it. We need to know about a very special podcast.
All right, so I don't remember. I'm assuming I've talked about this 3 other times, but we might as well just do it for a 4th time. Why not?
Should we just splice in the old you?
We could. You know what? We could go back and like check for inconsistencies in the story, because you never know. Like, memory's starting to fade after all this time. But it's the concept is basically, it originally started out kind of as a, let's do a very special episode of a TV show and talk about it. But then we kind of ran out of a very special episodes of TV shows to talk about. So then we just started throwing in random episodes, and then just throwing out random kind of TV shows. Like, I think we just did Seventh Heaven, which I think every episode's a special episode. So
Fair.
yeah. And we absolutely hated it. It was tough. It was tough to get through.
I mean, you're describing every Seventh Heaven episode I've ever seen.
And watching it in 2023 and having not watched it since 2001, maybe, I just had this completely different vision of the show. And then going back to it, I was like, what was this show? Why were everyone on the show insufferable except for the youngest child? Ruthie was just the audience. She represented the audience, where I just felt like she hated her whole family.
Which is weird, because the youngest child is usually the worst person in the family.
I don't know. Although I do like the mom. The mom on that show is pretty cool too. She smoked pot once in college, I think. I think that was the rumor.
and that's why their eldest child is so screwy. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, and then isn't Stephen Collins like now a convicted pedo or something?
Yeah, we had a long-standing questionable kind of I don't trust the dad on the show, and then all this stuff came out, and then we were like, we are definitely not doing the show. And for whatever reason, we just did it. We just talked about it.
You're talking about the guy who like fittingly played the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
the
boy.
dad.
Yeah.
Eric, I think was his name on the show.
Yeah. Eric Camden.
I feel like he played a sex pervert on like Law and Order SVU at one point as well.
I believe he was, and I think he had a very questionable
Sex
role
pervert.
on one episode of It's Always Sunny too. I feel like he was kind of.
It wasn't method acting, it was just
their
regular
real
acting.
dad. Yeah. Spoilers,
Okay,
sorry.
was that it? All right.
Yeah. He's the real dad of Dennis and Dee on It's Always Sunny. Also, he was Commander William Decker in the original Star Trek the motion picture, who was supposed to take over for Kirk, and then Kirk's like, nah, dog, I'm gonna take my shit back.
Wait. Rewind the tape on that. The dad from Seventh Heaven was going to be on the first Star Trek movie.
Yes. No, he's in the first Star Trek movie. The plot is he is supposed to be taking the Enterprise, and Kirk is like an admiral, so he can't be a captain of the ship anymore. But then that giant space probe that turns out to be Voyager, whatever, is like killing everything in its path. And they're like, we need the Enterprise to get out there. And Kirk needs to take control of the Enterprise. And Decker's just like, or Stephen Camden or Eric Camden's just like, yeah, no, I know this ship better than you, Captain Kirk. And then everyone's like, screw you. And then his girlfriend, his space girlfriend, gets turned into a living computer by the Voyager probe. And then they go and have space sex to alleviate not being able to bond with the creator.
I'm horrified to say that we watched Seventh Heaven.
I'm going to say that description of the first Star Trek movie sounds way much better than actually watching it, because that movie is insufferable to sit through.
Mm-hmm. Even the director's cut, which is arguably better, is still because they're trying to go.
I want to go back and rewatch it just to see the dad from Seventh Heaven, but I don't think I can sit through that again.
He was the prototype Riker for Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
And I don't know.
And Andrews hung himself.
No, I'm looking up Stephen Collins' appearance on Law and Order SVU. During a 2014 interview with People magazine, Collins admitted he had inappropriate sexual conduct with 3 female minors in 1973, 1982, and 1994. There's more. I don't want to read the rest of it.
So before he played the good pastor, essentially.
Yes, and and during the time that he was in the 1979 film Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh. Okay.
Yikes.
All right. Wings, the TV show.
Yeah. You don't want to talk more about your own podcast?
It's a very special podcast. Find it on your podcasting platform of choice.
Just like our whole sidebar on, I don't know, the dark career of Stephen Collins. A very special podcast tends to go that route very quickly too. So you know what? If you want those kind of stories, go for it. If you want to hear us talk about, I don't know, like how horrible Kirk Cameron was in the later seasons of Growing Pains, you know what? Just go back and you can find us. Just look for a very special podcast on all the things. I don't know, whatever you listen to podcasts on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be at the top artist on my Spotify Wrapped for this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope so.
My problem with Spotify, by the way, the whole rap thing is that I always I don't listen to much music, so I'll binge one specific band or group once a year, and that's my Wrapped. It's never
Spotify.
Yeah, and it's never a bunch of things. It's just one thing.
I had a fun one this year.
What's that?
What was it?
It said you didn't listen to enough music on Spotify to have a Wrap. I was
I don't listen to a lot. I mean, I have it, but I don't know.
I haven't logged into Spotify. I don't when it was free initially. I think was the last time I've been on there.
My wife and I we each have a Spotify Duo account, and have each tried to add each other to our account, and it's just never happened. So now we just pay 2.5 times more than we should be paying for Spotify. I never use it. Oh man.
And you can find this season's 90s Christmas playlist on Spotify by searching Namely 90s holiday playlist.
Yeah, download the app.
Yes, to our 13% listener base that uses Spotify to listen to this show.
Okay, good.
Hi,
good
Sam
numbers.
from One of Us is Bored. Yeah, but you guys have done some fun episodes this year. Charmed caught my eye.
That was funny. We had Kaylee Cuoco Vision, which was our Kaylee Cuoco
she pops up in everything.
Episodes. Yeah, I can't even remember what we did, but we absolutely hated that Charmed episode. But at the same time, I was knee deep in that universe for a good 2 weeks, maybe.
Shoot!
Caught up.
And that was late season Charmed, right?
Yeah, it was the
last
the
two
episode.
seasons.
The episode we selected was, I think it was the one before the last episode, or very close to it, somewhere near the end.
But Charmed was syndicated AF. That show was on constantly for a while.
I mean, I've probably seen every episode on TNT.
Duh.
Yeah, I was gonna say TNT,
aka the Charmed channel.
Shawshank, then Charmed.
You go get an oil change at Walmart at 8:45 in the morning, and it's on in the waiting room.
Yeah, I remember it was in our University Union. I had an hour between classes, and I'd just go hang out there, and it's Charmed is on the television. Why? It's been off the air for at least 5 years.
It's 2013. Why is this on?
Exactly.
Can I ask a question? Do you have an era of Charmed that you prefer?
I
just always curious.
I like the early year. Well, okay. I mean, actually,
the Shannon years.
Yes,
but Prue, whatever her name was.
Yeah, but also I do like when Leo. That's the white lighter, right?
The husband.
When they were finally together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never really watched it, and I always thought that Charmed and Gilmore Girls were the same show.
They could be. I feel like they were filmed on the same backlot, and
it could have been
wherever. Yeah, same
actually,
Hollywood backlot.
I was on the Gilmore Girls backlot this summer.
Okay, did you see any Charmed? Did you see the Charmed house while you were there?
I don't recall seeing the Charmed house, but it's a big backlot. They only took us on one little route. But they let us inside the Gilmore Girls house.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How was it? How was the experience?
Empty on the inside, both the house and myself.
You know what? That's how I felt when I watched the reunion movies they did a few years ago. Empty on the inside.
Empty on the inside.
Yeah.
But Lauren Graham doing well. The Mighty Ducks series on Disney Plus.
Canceled, maybe.
Oh yeah, what's up with canceled? It? Yeah.
You reviewing that backlot tour reminds me of something I saw reviews of Anne Frank's house on Google, and someone was complaining that they didn't have Wi-Fi. I was like, that's so true.
It was a cool tour. It's just a house on a backlot's not going to be filled with anything.
No.
It's just where they do all the outside scenes, like when they want to show somebody mowing the lawn or something.
Exactly. Like we saw the little stretch of road they did the Tyrannosaurus chase in Jurassic Park.
Okay.
They had their own Friends couch in front of the fountain for the Friends opening. They showed us the outside of the buildings that Supergirl flew in front of when they were still on CBS, not the CW. All those highlights. Like. Yeah.
Wow.
I imagined some bland buildings and a bank.
You're like, oh, is that the building from Bull on CBS?
Oh, no, Bull.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is this one of the 7 Blue Blood spin-off streets?
Yeah. Is Chicago
Yeah, Blue Bloods. The newest spinoff is just called Mustache. It's from the point of view of Tom Selleck's mustache.
As he sells
is it
reverse
looking
mortgages.
up, like up his nostril, or is it looking outward towards who he's talking to?
Definitely outward.
Okay.
Oh.
Who else is on that show? Mark Wahlberg? Is that...
Donnie
is on that show.
I knew it was a Wahlberg. I almost said Dennis. I was like, Dennis Wahlberg.
Dennis the Menace
brother.
Wahlberg. Yes.
He's the one who runs the hamburger franchise, probably. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we've gone off rails again.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah.
But
what are we talking about this time?
I mean, we brought Patrick on to talk about Wings. Not I forgot to change it. It's season 6, episode 11 of Wings, Insanity Claus, and Claus spelled like Santa Claus. I guess they were trying to do the inverse of the Santa Claus movies. Who knows? But yeah, Wings. Wings is an American sitcom television series that ran for 8 seasons on NBC from 1990 to 97 for a total of 172 episodes. It's set in a fictional Tom Nevers Field Airport, a small 2-airlane airport in Nantucket, Massachusetts. Not to be confused with the actual Nantucket Memorial Airport, where the Hackett brothers operate Sandpiper Air, their single plane airline. The majority of the episodes are set in the airport. It stars Tim Daly and Steven Weber as the Hackett brothers, Joe and Brian. Crystal Bernard played Helen, their friend since childhood, and Joe's love interest and wife in later seasons, who ran the lunch counter at the airport. David Tram plays Roy Biggins, who runs a competing airline called Aeromass. Fat joke. Rebecca Scholl played Faye.
Oh.
This is horrible. Please stop. Well, this one.
Thomas Hayden Church is in this. Tony Shalhoub's in this, and yes,
the one where you said
John Rutter's wife, Amy Yazbek.
Amy Yazbek.
Later seasons.
Yes.
Helen ran the lunch counter at the airport, but dreamed of becoming a concert cellist. I hate TV writers so much.
But it plays into season 1 because she, at the end of, I think, season 1, instead of falling in love with Joe, she leaves to New York for a while to learn how to be a cellist.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she does. I remember that.
And then her dreams fail. She comes back.
Yeah, it's always like, he's
Joe
a tax adjuster and she's a concert whoopee cushionist. I hate this show.
But it ties in because Frasier comes the next season or 2 seasons later, and she complains to him that she followed his advice on his he has like some hokey self-help video that he's selling everyone, and he's running a conference on it, and she's like, "You ruined my life." And
I will tell you, we did that for AVSP. We did that episode.
Nice.
So yeah, I can't remember what it's probably like way back, but yeah, it was good. Lilith is in it. Baby Nerwith. Yeah.
Yep. I recently just watched all of Cheers and Frasier, and their 2 episodes of Wings that crossed over.
Okay.
So it's fresh in my mind.
Fresh in your mind.
A mind of soup.
I will tell you, as someone who grew up in Massachusetts, so Cheers is obviously an institution, but Wings, I think Wings is only known like in Massachusetts because I don't live there anymore, but I'll just kind of bring up Wings every now and then. Like, oh, this was like a staple. Like everyone watched Wings because it took place in Nantucket, and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You don't know Wings? Family Guy, where Quagmire gets extremely irritated that no one's heard of Wings.
Like Tom Nevers Airport or whatever it's called. Like I know that's the fictional name,
Tom
but
Nevers Field.
yeah, Tom Nevers is like an actual name of a town in Nantucket, and I think he was a real person. I think too.
Huh.
Vaguely remember that from history class.
There's
like
no
6th grade.
small airport in the world like this. Just so you know, it
It looks
does
like a
not
house.
exist.
It looks
It's
like
just-
the back of a house when they showed like an outside shot of it.
I mean,
Yeah.
the old, because they just renovated our airport here in our small town. It's close. Like it used to be before. I mean, back in the 90s when you didn't have TSA or whatever. It had the first time I walked in this little airport, I'm like, this feels like the small tiny airport from Wings.
Yeah, except it's not like the airport in Wings is like 8 chairs and a bar.
True.
And you're not going to have a bar restaurant open for this tiny little airport that serves 8 passengers at a time. It would go out of business. Now, why are there so many employees?
And there's no ticketing counter.
Nantucket is this tiny island, like a good, I don't know, like half-hour flight off the coast of the mainland. No one's going there unless it's the middle of the summer. So I feel like on Christmas Eve or whatever time this takes place, nobody is there because it's probably cold AF there right now. Nobody is in Nantucket.
The Cheers people didn't know what to do. They were like, well, there's no bar here. Well, let's just put in a bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I swear to God, again, this is the older one. It was like an 8-seat bar and a gift shop across from the ticketing counters. Yes, there's a full waiting area once past TSA, but like, you're like, who would stop here and eat here when you have to get across the TSA line? Like,
Yeah, I never understood that. Like some of the airports, like Phoenix, it's like a shopping mall before security.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Anyway.
Yeah, like you're gonna inconvenience yourself, go all the way to the airport, find parking, deal with like dragging around your luggage or whatever, and just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna buy some, I don't know, like the Friends Couch Lego from the outside Lego store that's outside like the Spirit airline booth.
It's nonsensical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just go to the airport to do your Christmas shopping.
Yeah,
And just go
why
back
not,
home.
right? Yeah, and it's you know what? It's probably like 3 times the price than if you went to the
Yeah, not to
local
mention the
whatever.
price of parking and oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Recently at the Seattle airport, a semi truck driver decided to drive down the airport drive, like where you drop off and pick people up, and got stuck because it's not designed for semi trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like a huge delay because they had to back the semi down the thing. Why? Anyway.
Yeah, that would have made a great Wings episode right there.
Yeah. There's a semi truck out front. You never see it because they only shoot the interior of the airport, but everyone just keeps coming in and complaining about it.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
that would totally happen too. They can't show it.
I'm pretty sure it's an episode. No.
Could be. There's 117, you said, I think.
172.
Ooh, way more than I thought. I thought there was 3 seasons max of this show.
Designed for syndication. Just like Cheers and Frasier. Yeah, so we've all watched it at some time, but no one.
Actually, I never have watched Wings.
Oh.
Never? Tonight
Never
was
once.
the first time.
Just aware of it. Yeah.
Huh. All right. So we get into the insanity clause.
Let's do it.
But yes.
All right.
This opening is just, there's way too much going on in this opening too.
Yeah. 3 wise men try to book a flight back to the mainland. And we have a Jackson's joke, I guess.
Some light early 90s like homophobic jokes going on too that just kind of flew over that no one cared about.
It's homophobia, as they do. It's the 90s.
I couldn't figure out. So is this Christmas Eve?
Yes, I think it must have been Christmas Eve because Faye's throwing a party. Everyone wants to go home, and Helen's sister, who I don't remember her name, is trying to fly to Boston. Oh, Casey is trying to fly to Boston for a Christmas Eve party that she's going to be snuck in through the dog.
This had
door.
very little to do with Christmas, though. This episode,
Yeah,
it was like Christmas at the beginning, and then the main story happened. It had nothing to do with Christmas, really, and then it was Christmas at the end.
But it does the classic Christmas trope of someone holding up people and
Yeah, but
snapping
it
on
wasn't
Christmas
like
Eve.
I don't know. It was.
He lost his job. I mean,
But he wasn't dressed as
not his
Santa.
not his current job, but his previous job. Yeah, I mean, they used Christmas to make sure that everyone was lonely.
Yeah, perfect.
That needed to be.
They just set up like every main character had some kind of horrible thing happening to them on Christmas, and I had never seen this episode before, so I was trying to figure out where they were going with this. And I didn't read the description. I just blindly went into this, and I was like, where are they going with this? Because we got some New Yorkers that are trying to get back to LaGuardia. We got Tim Daly's character and Helen, I think is her name, the longtime friend / fiance / whatever eventual wife. Like, there's a Christmas card mix up going on where like he got like a Christmas card from his ex-girlfriend, but he might have sent her one, and I don't know. They were just going on these weird angles, so I was trying to figure out where the A storyline was.
Yeah, I mean, what was the A storyline? It didn't really show itself until Bob came
20
in.
minutes in.
Yeah. Roy has to take his mom to the Bowling Hall of Fame. Tony Shalhoub's character Antonio is spending time with his new girlfriend Phoebe. It's
lemon bars. The old lady's having a party, and she made lemon bars that she thought everyone likes, but no one likes.
And she's forcing everyone to stay, even if they're in a happy relationship and want to spend time alone, like Joe and Helen.
Yeah, I mean, although I actually like this episode. The whole lemon bar thing, like they really beat that into the ground. And honestly, like it'd be very difficult to make a lemon bar that wasn't delicious. Like it's very straightforward.
I mean, fresh winter lemons.
And a part of me was thinking, so if it is in fact Christmas Eve, this lady's gonna wait till Christmas Eve to have this party when clearly everyone seems to have plans and has been talking about it for days, I guess.
She must be lonely without someone to go home to? ? I don't remember what like her relationship is with anyone else.
You know what? I have seen this show at least 30 times. I do not remember her character at all.
She's like the sassy gate attendant is what I remember. She usually does the announcements.
I know the name Rebecca Shull. She plays the Faye, who's the elderly, probably retired lady with a husband that passed away a decade ago and just looking for a job. But what else has this woman done? Because I can't recall anything I've ever seen her before.
No idea. Or since. I mean, I feel like maybe I've seen her in some sort of like where she plays the same like elderly woman role.
Like a part of me I do this thing when I watch something from the 90s and I see someone that's over the age of 70 and I go, I wonder if they're still with us. But then I just stop there because I don't want to go down that path.
I mean, do you want to know her if she's alive or not?
You know what? 'Tis the season, so let's find out.
She's alive.
Okay, good for her.
94.
Okay.
Best known for TV NBC sitcom Wings.
That's it? Like she wasn't in like, I don't know, an episode of Maude or something where she played her sister, maybe? I don't know.
She was in an episode of Frasier. She was in an episode of Law and Order Criminal Intent. A recurring role on Suits. A recurring role on Chasing Life. Saint Elsewhere.
Is that the one where why can't? Oh, is that the Saint Elsewhere? Is that the one with Denzel Washington?
Yes. Also takes place in Boston, by the way, too.
I mean, it's a medical drama. I've never seen it. I don't actually know. That's the one where it's like is that the one that
Snow
connects?
globe at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like an autistic kid at the end just imagining this whole world taking place in the snow globe that he got for Christmas one year.
See,
So
Ed Flanders, William Daniels, Ed Begley Jr., David Morris, Denzel Washington, Howie Mandel, Norman Lloyd.
and
Howie Mandel making a second appearance on this podcast.
Yep. and like it ties in. It makes a multiverse of, or not a multiverse, a single universe of most sitcom shows. Let's see. She was in an episode of Roseanne. Analyze this.
That was Billy Crystal, Robert De Niro, and any actor who's ever been in a Martin Scorsese film. It was like a comedy of mafia humor, I think. That's what you describe it.
Yeah,
it was The Sopranos before The Sopranos, is basically what it was, but with jokes.
Billy Crystal was his therapist or something.
Shrink. Yeah, he was the Lorraine Bracco role or whatever her name is.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I thought I would notice. I thought I'd recognize her from something else. I mean, I've seen the episode of Frasier she was in. Couldn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like she just had this air of like familiarity to her,
Mhm.
and it's probably just this show. But in my head, I'm just assuming I know her from somewhere else, but I
Right.
don't. But she's still alive. She's 94, at least as of this recording.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, which we recorded before this episode came out.
Rebecca Shull Death Watch 2023.
Oh dear, we're not going to be responsible for that. Yeah, Sarah. Yeah. All right. Bob comes down. Even though Helen has closed the gift shop, cafe,
lunch place.
yeah,
I can't figure this thing out. I still can't
bar.
figure this place out.
Bob comes down. He's the new air traffic controller. The other one's out sick for LASIK recovery or something
like
to
that.
that extent.
He had some kind of something removed from his eye. I think.
Double
I forget.
vision.
Double
Yeah.
vision. I think that's what they said. He was having double vision. or
Yeah. And then he says, "Hi, I'll have my usual, please. Black coffee and a jelly donut." And Helen's like, "Who the hell are you?"
Do you guys know? I mean, I'm sure you know who this guy is, right?
No, he's not a recurring character.
No, but it's played by Dan Florek, who was played Captain Cragen in Law and Order and Law and Order SVU for a long time. In fact, he was playing him at this time, so it was kind of funny that he was like playing the criminal in this show.
Oh, so it's kind of you know what, NBC thought, you know what, tonight on a very special wing,
Yeah,
your favorite captain is gonna be the bad guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They
actually his
probably should've-
revolver from the show.
he
They probably
turns
should
to
have
the
clipped him
dark
shooting
side.
the pistol in the air. We just kind of spoiled the I don't know what happens 10 minutes from now on the show.
Yeah, 10 minutes from now. Yeah, he gets upset. He can't get a donut. Tony Shalhoub ate the last jelly donut. And he's like telling Helen, "You say no, that's Bob's donut if you find another jelly donut." And yeah.
A part of me was trying to remember if Bob was actually a character on the show, because I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this in so long. Is he actually, like, have we met him before? Or is this just a one-off character? But apparently he's just a one-off character.
Yeah.
This Bob guy, though, like, I thought the acting was funny, you know?
Yeah, it was
like,
good.
It was pretty, like, it was kind of over the top and a little bit of, it was like a shtick, you know, but it was fine. It worked for me.
Like, he was supposed to be threatening, but you know what? He wasn't, but
He's
he
kind of bumbling.
Was.
There was like
He
at
was
one
a
point
wild card.
he kept like scratching himself with the barrel of the gun and
Yeah.
stuff, like on his
Yeah.
neck and on his head. I found that humorous.
I just love that he just walks into an airport and just shoots a pistol. It's just like,
because Tony Shalhoub or Antonio was supposed to get everyone's attention and just like, excuse me. Excuse me. And then Bob just shoots the pistol.
You know what? It's been so long since I watched this show, and the only other time I've ever seen Tony Shalhoub, I think, was on Monk. And what's that show on Amazon with the comedian.
I don't know.
Dressing Daisy, Matt, like something. It's like dressing up Daisy or something. Fabulous Mrs. Maisel or something like that.
The marvelous Miss Mavel.
That was it. Okay. So I've only seen him in those two. Yeah, Ms. Marvel. I've only seen him in those two shows, and then he has just a weird accent in this show, so it just threw me off.
I think
that was
he's
90s
like
Tony Shalhoub.
I thought he was kind of like the crown jewel of this episode. Like it was good.
He was.
The accent was good, lightly offensive. It worked for me.
Well, I mean, he's the
taxi driver, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a taxi driver, but like, you know, the show Taxi.
And that show is about what?
Taxi driving. I think he's like the Andy Kaufman equivalent in this series.
Okay, so they're
with the voice and the
So do you think the premise of the creators of this show is like, hey, taxi, but at an airport?
But also Cheers.
But also Cheers. And maybe Frasier.
Maybe Frasier. Like, let's throw a bar in there that's also a sandwich shop. That is widely successful somehow. That's ran by a cellist.
On Nantucket.
On Nantucket, which there's probably 100 residents that live there year round.
Also, an airport of this size probably wouldn't actually have their own air traffic control.
Or a sandwich shop.
Yeah, that's true.
Or two competing airlines on the island. Or at the airport.
That's true.
And if I remember correctly, Sandpiper Airlines, it's only one plane, and it's just the two brothers. Like they
share the plane.
Pilot and co-pilot.
I think that the mistake they
fly
make
together.
Like the airport is okay for the amount of service the airport provides. It has way too many amenities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's like two airplanes that hold like 8 people each.
You would barely have a vending machine.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like the Myrtle Beach airport where I live has less than this, and it's way bigger than Nantucket. There's less in this place. Like, I'm blown away by Tom Nevers airfield. It's just mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And judging from the outside exterior shots of this, it looks like a 2-story family house. And I'm like, how do they fit all this in here?
Where does the tower go?
Yeah, does your 2-story family house not have an air traffic control tower on top of it?
Yeah.
And an extended backyard where planes can come and go as they please.
Oh, like John Travolta's house?
Yeah.
You seen that?
I thought you were referring to him in that one.
No, his house, he has like a jet bridge that he can park his he has a commercial jet airliner that he owns that he like parks at his house.
Sorry, I was getting that confused with Air America with Mel Gibson, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay. Deep cut right there.
Yes.
Deep cut.
Although I got that one confused with Forever Young.
That's like Captain America with Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah. He's cryogenics test pilot. Nope.
Frozen in time, comes back 50 years later. It's 1992. He meets up with his old gal pal, and she's like 100 now.
Mm-hmm. And his body starts to age rapidly.
Yeah.
So he makes out with Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much going on. All these movies are just the same.
But and it ties back to this because George Wendt, who plays Norm in Cheers, was in that movie.
He was, yes. Has George Wendt been to Tom Nevers Airfield? Because I think there's an episode with at least 3 people from Cheers, right? Like Rebecca, I think Kirstie Alley has been there. I know I've seen Kirstie Alley and Helen like interacted. I know I've seen that.
That's a later rip to the max, Kirstie Alley. That's a later season episode. So I think there's 3 crossovers. There's the Kirstie Alley one. There's the Cliff and Norm come in a season 2 episode, and then Frasier and Lilith, which we mentioned earlier. That's a season 3 episode, and
it's like a layover. Frasier and Lilith have a layover, right? In Nantucket or something. Can't remember.
Well, yes,
something happens.
Okay, sorry. Twice. they reference the layover in Cheers, but he's doing a seminar on like this self-help video that he's trying to shill to these people at the airport.
But wouldn't you would never use that airport as a connecting airport? Well,
no, he was bringing the people in.
What I remember watching it at the time and thinking, why are people going to Nantucket, which is way out of the way, when you can just host it in Boston? Fraser lives in Boston, so why doesn't he just do it there?
You're getting away from the city and saying, yes, I can do things in the city.
You can go inland. I don't know.
True.
Whatever.
True. I don't know. So Bob takes Antonio hostage.
Yes.
And then says all he wants is a jelly donut. That's his ransom demand. Is ransom the right word?
Yeah, I was kind of upset. Like, why didn't he just throw in at least like $1,000 or something? Like, throw something else in. Like, what is it? 1994 when this episode aired?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was hot at this time? I don't know. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 might have just came out, so maybe throw that in there too for his kids.
That's Sega Genesis. Yeah.
Yeah.
94.
Sonic CD or whatever, Sega CD, whatever it was.
Yes. And then he takes Antonio upstairs, holding him hostage still, and then they do this whole plan. Lowell is going to repel. No, not repel. What's the opposite of repel? He's going to climb up the side of the air traffic control tower to save Antonio. Helen is tasked with baking a new jelly donut from scratch. Apparently the recipe given was for a single jelly donut.
Obviously.
Yes.
And then I think there's someone calls, I think Casey calls Bob's wife to get her down there, or someone does
to talk to him.
Might have been Faye. I don't remember.
Somebody calls the wife, and there's some drama there too, though.
Yeah. So Antonio starts to talk him down by telling him how good his life is, which somehow works. Talks about his new girlfriend, and as they're coming downstairs, crisis averted because Helen made that new jelly donut and put it on the counter under a case. Bob's wife comes in, and her name happens to be Phoebe, who happens to also be Antonio's new girlfriend.
Oh no!
Yes. Dun dun dun.
There was a whole element of this whole hostage situation though that kind of bothered me. So Bob takes Tony Shalhoub, Monk, whatever is it? What's his name? Antonio captive. Mm-hmm. And then he takes him away from everybody else. Like, he leaves everybody else and just goes upstairs to the traffic control tower. He's like, I can see everything up there, but I imagine there was like a short jaunt to get there. Mm-hmm. They could have just escaped. They could have just took off.
Oh, yeah,
also,
do they really care about Tony Shalhoub?
And like, the police never showed up.
Yeah, they show up at the very end.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
The very end.
The gag is Joe's brother, the brother, what's his name?
Brian
is the only
played by
sensible.
Steven Weber.
Steven Weber is Brian, the only sensible person in the group. Actually called the police, but he was like, the 911 operator said that they're all out at their Christmas party or something.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a while for them to get there.
Which makes sense because it's 1994. They don't have cell phones. They're probably relying on radio, and it's Nantucket, and there's nobody that lives there. So there's probably 2 officers on that whole island. Let's be real. Which
is multiplied by like 7 when at the end for the gag.
It's like a whole diehard SWAT team shows up.
Yeah.
They probably flew in from Boston.
They flew in from Boston on the other airline, Aeromass, without an air traffic controller. Yeah. Oh, and then one of the wise men from Brooklyn eats the jelly donut.
Who could have seen that coming?
Mm-hmm. And so Bob's wife starts to try to talk him down, but then she gets angry too because he was like calling her a cheater, even though she was cheating on him and was admitting to it. I laughed at the part where she was like, and he was a good lover too. And Tony Shalhoub's like, she's lying, I'm clumsy, I don't know what's going on down there.
He said, I didn't even know where everything was. Or?
Yeah. I don't even know where everything is. Yeah. And then Bob says, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm simply going to shoot the man who's sleeping with my wife.
Which I guess that
Fair.
Yeah, it's
in some circumstances.
Out for justice kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get 30 years to life in Shawshank, but
but you'll get out eventually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Dufresne was no. And then let's see. Joe,
Joe to the rescue.
Yeah, he saves the day,
quote unquote.
by telling Bob who he's fed up with, saying that Bob's been saying, oh, I have the worst luck. The woe is me. My life is the worst. And then Joe's like, everyone has a terrible life here. And then he goes around to all of the main characters and says why their holidays suck. And reasons for being depressed.
The best part of Joe's little stray thought right there was when he talks about Amy Yazbek's character and just talks about her like relying on a cocktail waitress to get invited to a party, then just crawling through like a dog door. And I just, because she was like strutting around like she got invited to some party hosted by the Kennedys or something.
But like, isn't the dog door usually in a full-size door? And so why couldn't she just open the actual door?
It might have been locked.
Yeah, the doggy door.
But they said the maid was going to sneak her in through the. I don't know.
Oh,
I guess you're right. Yeah, okay.
Fair.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? This is Joe's just trying to make her sound horrible.
Well, I mean, she was the one that said she has to climb through the dog door.
Does she actually say it though?
Yeah, she does. Yeah. She's like, my friend is a maid and she's going to sneak me in through the doggy door.
I think I missed that line. I only caught it at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know what? Then I take back my comment right there.
Yeah.
Wasn't the best part of the episode.
No. But this somehow gets... Joe manages to get the gun after that tirade. Where he puts down everyone else but himself. He finally gets off his chest that the lemon bars are terrible. And then to end the episode, the police come in after he gets the gun and point
they
their
see
weapons
Joe with the
at
gun,
him.
and they pretty much line sight and dead to rights.
Yep.
I watched this episode. I don't remember the police coming. That's weird.
I mean, that's how the episode ends.
Is
Crazy.
it? Did you watch a YouTube version or did you watch like Paramount Plus? Like, I don't know.
I watched on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I watched on Paramount Plus.
You know what? Maybe Paramount Plus has the exclusive, like the
extended version.
Maybe.
Honestly, I probably just stopped paying attention.
What is the last thing you remember?
I don't know.
Okay. And then the tag scene, Lowell is still hanging from the tower.
Trying to climb up it, and like the janitor is just sweeping up and control room.
That's all I remember. So that was the episode. Final thoughts?
I liked the show, but if I don't see it again for another 7 years, like wonderful.
I mean, personally, after finish, like I marathon Frasier or Cheers and then Frasier, and I kind of had like a hole in my life for like a week or two after that.
You needed to fill in that like universe. You needed more from it, so you just kind of.
I probably could have watched Wings, like just put it on. I needed something to be on in the background, and Wings might have filled it for me.
Just fill the void.
Had I thought to do that, but I didn't. I just tried watching the new Frasier series.
You know what? I just remembered. You know what I really always loved about Wings, and it's kind of dated now, is the 90s kind of graphical credits, like the computer graphic credits. It kind of has that polished like first edition of Adobe Photoshop look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got that glare logo. It's hard to describe it. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, I kind of get it.
Like I feel like that's
background.
a filter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like you could like go into like the very first version of Word and write wings, and then select the font, and then like hit some kind of
It's like word art.
Yeah, word art, and it just kind of comes up as a like whatever you typed in. Like it has that look to it, which I really appreciate.
It beats Sit Ubu Sit.
Oh boy, yeah.
Final thought, Andrew?
I enjoyed the show. I was watching it, but I didn't enjoy talking about it.
I know.
Yeah,
but like
this is the first show in a few that you found funny.
I laughed at parts of the show, but like rehashing it is exhausting.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just I watched it. I genuinely had a smile on my face, but now sitting around thinking about it, like what was that? What is this place?
You had to be there.
This is just a hard world to grasp. Now that I had 4 hours to think about it before I recorded, I was just trying to think of how this world functions, and I just want to know more about Helen's accountant books. Is she in the red? Is she doing good? Like, where does she
There's
live?
no way.
You should have just called it Cheers 2 and just got rid of the airport crap.
Isn't that Frasier?
Okay, Cheers 3.
Fair. And that's it for this holiday edition of Namely 90s. Thank you to Patrick M. Dunn of a very special podcast for coming on. Can you let our listeners know where to find you and your pod?
Yeah, just go to whatever app on your phone that opens podcasts up. Just write a very special podcast. You can go to a very special podcast.com. I'm pretty sure that's paid for the year, so it might still be working.
It's still up as the time of this recording. Yes.
Okay. Very podcast on X, I think it's called now.
If it's still there.
Yeah, still there. A very special podcast on Instagram, which we are currently locked out of the account, but we're working on getting back into it. Hopefully things are looking up.
Good to know.
And you know what? Just Google it. You'll find it.
Just Google it. And you could find it in the comments or blurb below.
Show notes, all that stuff.
Yeah, we got you. And as always, you can find us on Instagram, Bluesky, and YouTube at Namely90s with 90s, and tell us how your holidays are going. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Namely90s, also with a 90s. And finally, you can contact us through our website. No, you can't. Ha ha ha. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, Wings, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, GoodPod, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon. That's Andrew. And thank you one final time to Patrick M. Dunn for his 4th year here with us from a very special podcast on our 2023 Christmas 12 Days of Christmas specials. And we'll catch you tomorrow for day 10 of the thing that I just said.